I just felt like that would not really be appropriate. You probably hear enough speeches from enough elected officials to make your eyes kind of gloss over. So I think I'm just going to talk a little bit, from my heart and then shoot from the hip a little bit and tell you that it was about 4 or 5 years ago in this very room that I came 2009 and I asked for your support to come back to the commission and try to bring some common sense leadership and hopefully a new vision for a city that at the time I felt was spiraling out of control. And for the most part, I think, well, not for the most part, I was very blessed and honored that you all had the confidence in me to put me in office. Granted, those first couple of years were just a little bit rough, to say the least. But, you all stuck with me, and we stuck together, and we worked very, very hard for those first couple of years, and then a couple of crazy things happened. We started winning elections again. And then we did it because of you. But before I get into all that, I do want to, I want to point out a few dignitaries that are here in the room, and I'm really honored and touched that they would come out tonight. And I'd like to introduce the following. You're all celebrities, but the following celebrities are dignitaries. Let's begin with Robert Gottlieb, town councilor from the beautiful town of South Palm Beach. Yeah. And he brought his sidekick, Mayor Murray Jacobson, former mayor of South Palm.
Hey, good morning.
And I know Martha, are you still here? Martha Webster, councilwoman from Royal Palm Beach, all the way in the back. And one of our local heroes, Mark Foley. Where are you? From Governor Scott's office, we have Kurt Segmeister and Ryan Walker. We have, from the Lake Worth City Commission, our newest member, John Zerdy. And I think I saved perhaps the very best for last, in that the two commission members that, well, let's just say they just put this in a new direction. We all worked together, and we got them elected. Pam Triolo, our mayor, Andy Amoroso. When I came back to the commission, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but they didn't say that I was going to have to do it blindfolded. But we did it, and Pam and Andy stepped up at a time where the city really, really needed it. If they hadn't stepped up, I don't know where we'd be right now. We had some really difficult days behind us, some real tough issues to deal with, and I felt, frankly, that we weren't really dealing with those issues. We were more focused on what I call the shiny objects. You've probably heard me say shiny object 1,000 times. The shiny objects. Lake Worth is 100 years old.
So am I.
Yeah. And in our 100 years, and I've only lived here 25 of those years, but I'm trying to put pieces together here and talking to some of the old timers and some of the folks who've been around for a bit. But when you think about it in its collective, I sometimes wonder if what we've been doing for these 100 years. We have roads that have never been paved. We have neighborhoods that don't have proper fire hydrant service. We have a lot of basic things that we just seem to be lacking here in the city. And the message that I had when I came back was, let's pay attention to the infrastructure. Let's pay attention to the basics of what we need to do. You can't just rely on, in our case, we've become reliant on our utilities to bail us out financially. And look where that's gotten us. We've gotten a reputation that is just really, really poor as far as our utility rates. But because of Pam, because of Andy, because of John, because of Commissioner McVoy, we have reduced your electric rates each of the last 3 years. For the first time in the history of this city, we've reduced the electric rates. And it wasn't just like you could snap your fingers and reduce the electric rates and all things are better. Because obviously when we reduce those rates, we have less revenue to deal with. Less revenue that we have to become reliant on to backfill our general fund. So with that comes the potential for tightening our belts, which we've had to do. The economy had its say in all this, and certainly we had our own financial issues to deal with. But here we are now. I think we're in a much better place. I think we have a great commission to work with. Again, Pam Trillo, Andy Amoroso, John Zuri, Chris McBoyd. We're having the adult conversation that Lake Worth probably should have had 25 years ago and stuck with. Because now we're left with all the legacy issues that others have ignored. Our infrastructure, for example, creating jobs, rebuilding our neighborhoods. These are all basic things that aren't sexy, none of which are going to get us a photo opportunity, and but the things we're dealing with, and I'm very proud of that. We've got a lot of work to do, no doubt about it. You know, we have an election cycle coming up here in March, and as you all know, we've switched our election cycle from November to March, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to get this event in prior to the holidays, because let's face it, in 2 days, all of us are going to be going home to our families. We're going to start focusing on the holidays, and mentally and physically, we're just going to be someplace else for the next 6 or 7 weeks. So I wanted to have you all come together and let you know that I'd be honored for your continued support. But come January, the first week of January, we're going to have to hit the street running and work very, very hard. I don't have an opponent yet, but I can guarantee you, I feel very confident that there will be an opponent. Okay? There's some folks in this town that are really motivated, if you will, to reverse the good work that this current commission is attempting to put together. And if I have anything to say about it, that's not going to happen. And with your support, we're going to keep things just the way they are. We're going to move forward in a new direction with a positive attitude, with clearly defined goals, a professional administration, and 5 elected officials who are looking out for the welfare of all of our citizens and not just the needs of the few. So with that, I'll thank you all very much for coming out tonight. I hope you enjoyed the food.
Great.
Easy food.
Rose has done a great job. I hope you enjoyed the Blue Red tickets, and no, they are not raffle tickets. They are not 50-50 raffle tickets. So, before I close out though, if you don't mind, if there are any easy questions, if you throw me some softball questions that anybody might have, I'd be happy to answer those questions, and then we can all get back to finishing up our meals and our red tickets. Yes, Marty?
Scott, if I was anxious in terms of getting a collectible for myself, like a canceled check with your endorsement on it, how would I make that payable?
Gee, Marty, thank you for asking. I did not plant that question, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. You know, one of the toughest things about running a campaign for me personally, and I'm sure for most people, is having to ask folks for financial assistance. So thank you for that segue, but if you can, I'd really appreciate your financial support as well as your physical support. So you just make your checks out to the Scott Maxwell campaign. That's real simple. Mark?
I'd just like to congratulate you all on hiring Mike Bornstein as your city manager.
You know, thank you, Mark. I have been asked 100 times since we've changed city managers. You know, how did you pull that off? How did you get Mike?
Louder, Scott.
Louder? And my response has been this every single time. When the decision was made to move to a different city administrator, I personally had no idea what would await us on the other side of that door. All I knew was what we had going for us at the time wasn't working very well, in my opinion. And I think we were very, very blessed, truly blessed. And I think there was a little bit of divine intervention here that Mike Bornstein would be available, because he's done a hell of a job. He's got a great disposition. He drives me a little nuts sometimes, but you know, he's going to be all right. But you know, he's well respected throughout the county and the state. He's done a great job in his career of networking and building bridges with his colleagues. And Lake Worth is just very, very lucky to have him. And he has helped us a great deal in building those bridges that maybe we've broken over the years. Okay, folks around the county don't look at Lake Worth quite the same today as they did 4 or 5 years ago. Folks are actually excited about Lake Worth. They're excited to come and look at what we're doing. They're excited about the fact that we have a professional administration, we have elected officials that care about the people. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. There have been folks that have been waiting on the borders of our city for years and years and years, willing to step in and help us, to move us in a much better and more positive direction. All we have ever had to do was figure out a way to get out of our own way. And I think we've come very close to doing that. I think we're there. I think we're there. Any other questions?
A real hardball question. If I want one of your signs in my front yard,
What is this, Tonight Show?
Apparently so. You know, I couldn't have scripted this better. We've got all your contact information. I hope that everybody was able to sign in. We've got your email addresses. We're not going to be bashful. I've got some professional help helping me this time on a more regular basis than I have in the past, and we're going to follow up, and we're going to get you all involved. And you know what? I don't want to say this the way it's going to come out, but I don't know other way to say it. Money's important, but your active participation in this campaign is more important. Your ability to knock on your neighbor's door and tell them about the election day. Your ability to talk to somebody who you normally wouldn't speak to. You know, we all have that comfort zone. We have our own little niche of friends that we kind of, you know, hang with. You know, my challenge to everybody is to reach out to 10 people that you don't know, that you've never met before, and tell them why you think Lake Worth is going in the right direction, and ask them what they think, and see what they can bring to the table. Get them to come out and vote. You know, we have 16,000, roughly 16,000 registered voters here in the city of Lake Worth.
And 5,000 votes.
We'd be lucky to get 5,000 in a municipal election. We're going to get 3,500 people. They're going to come out. That's 16,000.
Right.
What does that say? So with your help, if we can all commit when the day comes, we're going to reach out to you. We'll probably give you a list of 5 or 10 people, and we'll ask you to go knock on their door, or call them on the phone, and introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm your neighbor. You know, I'm sorry to say, I don't know all my neighbors in my street. We all need to...
Every vote counts.
Absolutely, every vote counts. And I will tell you, for those who don't remember, way back in the day when I ran for official the first time here in the city back in 2001, I won by 32 votes. That's pretty hard close.
Yeah. That's because he studied that book on how to...
You can't get much closer than 32 votes. So every vote absolutely counts. It absolutely does count. Any other questions? Well, with that, again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for coming out. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. There are food, our drinks. Let's, you know, talk, enjoy ourselves. But more importantly, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody. And we'll see you.
Oh,